800 feet up, a gust of wind doesn't just push you. It swings you sideways into a pane of glass the size of a garage door, and the only thing between you and the sidewalk below is a rope the width of your thumb. That's not a stunt. That's a Tuesday morning in downtown Chicago, and the guy on that rope makes $16 an hour. Level 1, ground crew, squeegee hand. 18 years old, $16 an hour. You start on the ground floor, literally. Storefront windows, lobby glass, the panels nobody has to hang off a building for. You learn the squeegee angle, the fan pattern, the trick of pulling a clean line without leaving a streak in direct sun. Nobody tells you that the hardest part isn't the glass, it's the ladder work. Extension ladders on uneven sidewalks, angled against brick that's 100 years old and crumbles a little every time you lean into it. Your first month, you drop a squeegee from a second-story ladder and watch it bounce off a parked car's windshield. Your foreman doesn't yell. He just says, "Now you know why we tether tools." You never forget it. The crew lead watches how you set up a ladder before he lets you near a rope rig. The angle, the footing, whether you check for overhead power lines out of habit or because someone's standing over your shoulder. Falls are the single leading cause of death in this trade, and most of them don't happen at 800 feet. They happen at 12, on a ladder, to someone who's been doing this for 6 weeks and got comfortable too fast. The first time you go up on rope, it's a 4-story building, the small ones. Your trainer double-checks every knot, every carabiner gate before you even wait the line. Descend, stop, check. Descend, stop, check. At 40 feet, your body understands something your brain already knew, that the rope isn't a convenience, it's the only thing keeping you alive, and you will check it obsessively for the rest of your career. Level 2, rope descent window cleaner, 23 years old, $28 an hour. Now you're the one on the glass. Full high-rise rig, bosun's chair or a rope and harness descent system, working panel by panel down a curtain wall while the city goes on with its day 40 stories below your boots. You learn to read a building's skin the way a mechanic reads an engine. Which panels have sealant failing behind the glass? Which anchor bolts on the roof rig look a shade too rusted? Which gasket lines mean water's already gotten in somewhere it shouldn't? Wind is not a hypothetical. You check the anemometer before every drop, and above 25 miles an hour, you're coming off the wall. Because a gust at height doesn't just sway you, it slams you into glass hard enough to crack a rib. A tech on a crew across town didn't come down fast enough last spring. A gust caught his rig broadside, swung him 15 feet, and put his shoulder into a window mullion hard enough to dislocate it, 400 feet up, alone, with nobody close enough to help for 6 minutes. 6 minutes. That's how long you hang there with a dislocated shoulder before your partner on the roof can even reach a phone. You start working in pairs after you hear that story. Everybody does. Nobody talks about why. Your hands develop a specific kind of scar tissue, thin white lines across your palms and fingers, from rope burn and the edges of glass panels that are sharper than they look from the ground. Downtown demand explodes as new glass towers go up faster than crews can be trained. 4-day jobs become 6. You're rigging off a roof before sunrise and not touching pavement again until the streetlights are already on. Your girlfriend stops asking why your forearms are wrapped in athletic tape, because the answer is always the same: tendinitis, from 10,000 identical squeegee pulls a week, and no amount of stretching makes it fully go away. You buy your own harness with your first real paycheck, rated well above what the job requires, because up on the wall, you trust your own gear or you trust nothing at all. A rookie on the crew freezes mid-descent on his 4th building, legs locked, refusing to let the rope run. You talk him down from the roof for 20 minutes because you remember exactly what that freeze feels like, and yelling never once fixed it. Your forearms ache constantly now. You're 23. The senior techs tell you it never fully stops. They're not exaggerating. You start noticing regulars in the office windows. The same accountant working late on the 14th floor. The same barista prepping before opening on the 2nd. Strangers who wave at you on rope like you're already part of the building. And yet you keep going back up week after week because the money's good and the view from 400 feet still hasn't gotten old. Level 3, Lead Rig Technician, 28 years old, $45 an hour. Now you're running the rig setup for the whole crew. You inspect every anchor point on the roof personally. You check every harness before anyone clips in, and you're the one who calls the job off when the wind numbers don't add up, even with a building manager standing there checking his watch. A davit arm anchor shifts under load at 300 feet, just a fraction of an inch, just enough for the whole rig to drop 6 inches before the secondary safety line snaps taut. Your body locks rigid, and for 1 full second you hear nothing except your own pulse in your ears. 6 inches. That's the gap between a normal Thursday and a phone call that changes what your family believes is safe forever. You personally load test every anchor point after that, on every building, before every job. Your crew thinks you're overly cautious. You don't explain. They'll understand eventually, or they won't, but nobody's dying on your rig. Rope on glass abrasion becomes a real conversation now. Sharp aluminum window frames and stone ledges saw through rope fiber faster than people expect. So you start carrying edge protectors on every job, non-negotiable, no exceptions. You get your rope access certification, your OSHA 30, and your competent person rigging card all in the same year. The laminated cards in your wallet outnumber the cash in it. Your shoulders carry a permanent ache now. Not an injury, just accumulation. 10 years of squeegee pulls and rope ascents, panel after panel, building after building. The body keeps a receipt for everything. You start double signing every anchor inspection with a second tech before anyone waits the line. Your own name and theirs, both on the sheet, both accountable if the bolt was never actually checked. Level 4, Safety Supervisor, Crew Foreman. 34 years old, $70,000 a year. Now you're overseeing 4 crews across a whole downtown district. You don't rig every job yourself anymore, but you still go up once a week, partly to inspect, mostly because you don't trust anyone's eyes the way you trust your own. You sign off on every rig plan, every fall protection audit, every incident report that crosses your desk. Your name is on every form that says this building is safe to work. And your name is on every form if it isn't. A 22-year-old on your B crew drops a water bucket from 30 stories. It misses a food cart on the sidewalk by 4 feet. You don't sleep that night, and by morning you've rewritten the dropped object protocol for every crew you run. The stress has moved from your hands to your jaw. You're grinding your teeth in your sleep. Your dentist points it out before you even notice it yourself. You get the call every supervisor dreads on a Friday afternoon. One of your techs fell. 20 feet. Harness clipped, but the secondary line was tied off to a rusted-through pipe bracket nobody flagged. He's alive, but his pelvis is fractured in 3 places. You visit him that weekend, and he says the exact same thing every fallen tech says. I checked the anchor. It looks solid. You implement mandatory photo documentation of every anchor point on every job after that. It adds 15 minutes to every rig up. Nobody complains. Not once. Your wife finds you sitting in the car in the driveway at midnight, engine off, staring at the garage door. You tell her you're fine. She knows you're not, but she also knows you'll go check a rooftop rig again tomorrow, because that's who you are now. What if that pipe bracket had held one more day, long enough for someone to flag it on a routine inspection instead? A 20-minute delay against a fractured pelvis. That's the math you run in your head at 2 in the morning, and it never comes out clean. Level 5, Operations Manager, Multi-Building Contracts, 40 years old, $130,000 a year. Your hands are mostly clean now. Your world is client contracts, insurance certificates, crew scheduling across a dozen towers, the business side of a trade that still puts someone in the hospital every few months. You manage 60 techs across 9 crews and 3 cities. Every morning starts with a wind report and a safety call, and every evening ends with you confirming that everyone who went up on rope came back down on the ground. A property management group pushes a deadline. 80 floors of curtain wall, cleaned and inspected before a major tenant walkthrough, in 9 days instead of the 16 your crews need to do it safely. You push back anyway, in a room full of people who don't want to hear it. The deadline moves by a week. Nobody thanks you for it, but nobody falls either. Your knuckles ache in cold weather now. 18 years of rope friction and squeegee grips presenting their bill, even though you haven't personally rigged a job in over 2 years. On a Sunday off, you catch yourself walking your own back porch railing before letting your daughter near it, checking the bolts with your thumb out of pure habit, the same way you'd check a davit anchor 400 feet up. You negotiate the company's liability insurance renewal, and for the first time you see the actual dollar figure the industry pays out per serious fall injury. It's a number that makes you close the laptop and just sit there for a while. A young foreman on your newest crew skips a wind check because a client's standing on the roof watching and he doesn't want to look slow. You find out from the incident log, and the edge in your own voice when you call him surprises even you. That edge isn't anger. It's 18 years of knowing exactly what that shortcut costs in this trade. Not money, not schedule, but a person's spine. You sit through your first deposition for a fall injury on a building your company hasn't serviced in 3 years. Your name's in the file because you trained the rigging supervisor who trained the crew that set the anchors originally. You start keeping a short list of names in your phone, techs you worked with who got seriously hurt. It's not long, but every name has a face, and you can still picture exactly where each fall happened. Your son asks what you actually do for work, and you realize you can't explain the rope, the anchors, the wind reports, without making him picture you falling. So you just say, I make sure buildings look nice, and change the subject. Level 6. Window cleaning company owner, 48 years old, $400,000 a year. You own the company now. 12 crews, 3 states, contracts with some of the tallest buildings on 4 different skylines. You haven't personally clipped into a rig in 6 years, but you can tell which crew has a problem just from the tone of a foreman's voice on the morning call. Your hands are soft again, for the first time since you were 17. No more rope calluses. No more glass-edged scars catching on your gloves. No more ridged skin across your palms. But your shoulders still ache before it rains. Your forearms still remind you of every winter you spent squeegeeing glass in freezing wind. Some things this trade put into your body 30 years ago never fully checked out. You drive past a downtown tower, and a 19-year-old is rigging a davit arm on the roof, the exact same way you did in 1996. He doesn't look down. He doesn't know you used to be him. He doesn't know about the anchor that shifted 6 inches at 300 feet. He doesn't know about the list of names in your phone. He just sees a company truck parked on the street below. Last month, a tech on your oldest crew caught a corroded anchor bolt on a building your company has serviced for 15 years, the exact same failure mode that broke your friend's pelvis 11 years ago. He caught it because you trained him to photograph every anchor, every time, no exceptions. That one catch made 30 years of being paranoid about anchor points worth every bit of it. Every extra 15 minutes. Every annoyed property manager. Every crew that thought you were overdoing it. What if that rusted bracket had held 11 years ago, the way this one didn't get the chance to? Your friend would be 49 now, probably still climbing, probably still complaining about his knees instead of his back. Your hands, under the soft, clean skin they have now, still carry the faint white lines from 10,000 rope pulls that nobody notices unless they're holding your hand and know exactly what to look for. You still keep your friend's old work gloves in your desk drawer, cracked leather, his initials in marker on the cuff. Not because you need them, but because throwing them out felt like closing a file that isn't finished. 30 years, and your body kept a full, honest record of every one of them. In your shoulders, in your forearms, in the pale scar lines across your palms that faded but never fully disappeared. That's what this trade actually costs. Not just years off a calendar. Real pieces of a person, traded one level at a time, for a number that finally makes sense on a paycheck, but never fully makes sense against the list of names in your phone. And every single window cleaner on this ladder will tell you the same 2 things at once. They'd do it again, and they'd also tell their own kid to find a way up that doesn't involve a rope. If you want to see what every level of the next dangerous job actually costs a person, subscribe, because we go up there every single time.